Oh, hi everybody. Thank you for watching another episode of Saturday Night Factional Fight Plays Wurm Online. My name is Brian. This is my brother Adam over there. And since you guys are here, why don't we talk about deeding? We're here at our place, surface mining, as you can see, and we have a lot of work to do. It's a big mess. But we know we've had a lot of requests to talk about what deeding is, how you do it, all that stuff. So let's get straight to it. Actually, before we do that, I wanted to bring up a couple things that were from the last episode that we didn't get completely right. We're, as we always say, that we're not the best at, teaching people about this game, because we're learning too. So, and we just learned some nice tips from all these nice commenters. So, Adam, do you remember?
Yeah. One of the first things was that one of the big things that we got wrong was on the topic of food. I mean, it wasn't so wrong because for the most part we've never had any issues regarding this, but it's on the topic of fasting. And we said you can fast and fast and fast and it won't matter.
You won't die.
You won't die.
Now that is true. You won't die, but
turns out that if you fast enough,
there's like 8 levels of fasting.
Yeah, 8 levels of fasting, and don't eat a single thing in those 8 levels of fasting, then you will lose all of your fat layers. Apparently you have fat layers that you have to build up, and when you lose all your fat layers, your food will go down to 0 and you will be restricted to certain actions until you get food, pretty much.
So it's good to feed your belly.
It is good to feed your belly.
So now let's move on to the other thing that we want to say. We know we didn't have a lot to say on effective quality because we were saying we didn't quite understand. It was some kind of formula based on the quality of your item and the damage that is on your item. And there's some like long formula, and somebody made a really nice comment on our website.
Yeah, I clarified it completely. Like, it makes complete sense now. If you have a tool and you're using it, like the tool that we're using right now is the pickaxe, and it gets damaged down, essentially the effective quality, so the quality that the pickaxe acts like, lowers as well. The formula goes something like this. You take your quality of the pickaxe and you multiply it by the ratio between the amount of damage that is not there, like, so 100% minus the amount of damage that's there, and then you multiply that by 100%, you divide it by 100%, and you get your effective quality. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, perfect sense. So now that that's completely cleared up, let's move on. Let's do it. Let's talk about deeds after this. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about what deeding is, just in general. So what is deeding?
Well, it's pretty much, I mean, we've mentioned it before in one of our episodes. It's essentially the act of owning land.
Yeah, so you own land. You basically own the tiles that are on the ground. And the first thing that you need to do in order to deed land is find what's called a trader, which is not to get mixed up with a merchant. Merchants are NPCs that sell player-owned items. Like a player owns a merchant, and the player puts like their own items on there for sale. A trader is something that sells game items. I don't, what would you call
It's
it?
kind of interesting how it works. I mean, a trader, there are, like, it comes with a set complement of items that it'll sell people. They're pretty expensive mostly,
You
but
can only get them on traders.
you can only get them on traders. Like, deed forms are one of them. So if you want to plant a deed, you have to buy it from a trader. Now, traders are usually found in your starter area on your server. So there'll be at least one trader there. In addition, players can purchase what they call trader forms that they can use to plant traders pretty much wherever they want. The only criteria is that they have to be spread 50 tiles apart from one another. I think it's 50 tiles.
Okay, well, they sell lots of items.
Yeah.
So, which means that traders could be all around your place. You just never know. There could be public traders wherever. Luckily, we know of one. So the first thing you'd want to do is go up to the trader. So let's kind of simulate what it would look like if you went to go and buy a trader form.
Okay.
So you get a trader form. How much does it cost?
Trader forms, or are you talking about trader forms or
Not
deed
trader forms, I'm sorry, deed forms.
Okay, well, deed forms will cost you 10 silver. Deeding is a premium benefit, I guess. You have to be premium to do it, and in addition to that, it'll cost you 10 in-game silver to buy the form itself. Now, don't worry, it's not going to be blowing all your money, because that 10 silver that you invest in the form will actually be translated into purchasing, like, each tile that you purchase will cost money, but that 10 silver will be put towards that.
That's true, and we'll have to talk about exactly how that works in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get into the details.
But there is a trader, luckily, right here. Right, and you would just go up to it. You'd right-click it. Let's see, bring up the trader window, and it'll be on it somewhere, right?
Yeah, no, usually traders have a whole bunch of random stuff on it that people sell to trader, but amongst the massive amount of things, you'll find the deed form.
It says
Settlement
form. So all you'd have to do is bring it down here. It's going to demand 10 silver. And you'd have to give it 10 silver. You'd have to go to the bank, take out 10 silver, and drag it into this window here. And then you'd be able to purchase a settlement form. After you do that, you have it in your inventory. Right? And
Yeah.
we already have a deed here, so we can't really plant it. But we can simulate planting it. So let's try to do that. So where...
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing that I want to just mention beforehand, because we've already planted a deed, we're going to sort of skip this part, but surveying the land that you are about to deed is extremely important. Decide first the limits of your deed. Now, because of the system, the length and width of your deed have to be odd numbers. We're going to explain exactly why that is, but they have to be odd numbers.
Okay.
So when you're planning out the area, plan out odd number lengths and widths, and say, I want to deed this area.
All right. If you guys see this token in the world, it means this is the center of someone's deed. That's what this is. If you want to know whether you're in a deed or not, all you have to do is right-click and examine the ground, any of the tiles, or double-click, and it will tell you that this is within the village. This is within a village. If it doesn't say a name, you're not in a village of any kind. So, here we go. Where you plant a deed, or where you're standing when you plant a deed, that's where the settlement form is going to be, or that's where the settlement token is going to be. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you're standing in the exact center.
Yeah, so let me turn go back to what we were doing. If you just finished surveying your land and you say, this is exactly the width I want, this is the exact length that I want, then what you need to do is find
You're
the
talking
center
about
tile.
tiles, right? Because we hadn't
That's
actually
right.
mentioned
The
that.
length of the tile, yeah, the tiles. So you would count out tiles, pretty much, literally.
So
count
how
out
does that
tiles.
work? What does that do? Let's try it. So
Yep.
say I have a settlement form. All you'd do is right click it. You'd go to village and say found village. Right. So we're not going to do that since we're on a village. Instead, I'm going to go here and resize, which is going to simulate what
It
it's like.
essentially brings up exactly the same window
Yeah.
that you will get if you found the village or whatever.
It'll have
bring you
this window right here. Welcome to the settlement application form, and it'll tell you tons of stuff about it.
Read it carefully.
Yeah, read it carefully. We're not going to do it because we've done it already.
And you can, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so let's take a look here. It's probably going to say 5 by 5 or something like that. I think that's the lowest, the smallest deed that you can have. It can't get any smaller than 5 by 5. So what does that mean? Does that mean like 5 tiles in what direction? How does that
Yeah,
work?
5 by 5 would be a really tiny deed. It actually isn't, like the width and length of your deed won't be 5 by 5, but what that number means is how far from the settlement token you're going to be going north and south.
So how far from where you're standing?
Where you're standing. So it's almost like you're standing in the center, and the 5 north and south, I can't see it on your screen very clearly, but does it say...
Don't worry. 5 east
north,
west, 5 north
5 east
south.
west, 5 north south. So pretty much from where you're standing, it will go 5 tiles north and 5 tiles south, 5 tiles east, 5 tiles west, to make a total rectangular area that's 11 by 11.
Yeah, because you're standing on a tile that doesn't count towards the 5 tiles.
That's right. And this is why your deed size has to be an odd number, length and width, because you have to count the one that you're standing on plus an equal
5
number
out.
forward and backwards. So, yeah.
So I would count basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way from where I'm standing, which would equal 11, which is the smallest. So let's survey that area. What does it mean if I hit survey area? I hit it. There is deed. What are they? Deed borders. Border markers. So what are they?
Yeah, so if you come over here and take a look at where I am, what it's telling you is that this this tile that this marker is on will be a part of your deed.
So
any fence that's on around this tile will also be part of your deed, even on the edge. Okay, but this is pretty much the extent of your deed, and it will go all the way along here, and you'll see another deed. I think
so we would own all this land.
All this land, and this one.
Anything
here is
inside this giant square that these deed markers are showing us.
Now 11 by 11, this is the smallest size deed that you can get. You'll notice that the terrain won't actually make a difference if you look off this cliff here. Okay, it won't make a difference to the size of your deed.
It's just the amount of...
Exactly the amount of tiles.
So how about... I mean, next it would be... I know I kind of closed that window. But if we try that again... next is going to tell you about perimeter size. What is perimeter?
Well, perimeter is an area that surrounds your deed. It's not a part of your village. There's no... I mean, your deed sort of protects your land. Nothing in your perimeter will be protected. The only thing that the perimeter will protect you against is other people building houses. And yeah, that's it actually, I think. Nobody can build houses. Oh, they can't deed in that area either. So you can't overlap perimeters with somebody else.
So perimeters are useful because then other people can't deed in your perimeter, and that other people can't repair anything
That's right.
inside your perimeter.
Can they not repair anything?
Anything.
Anything. Okay, so repair and building houses. From what I understand, though, you can build fences. You can
Okay,
build...
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can build and repair fences, and it's only houses that it's not. Where could you even find that information? We should have had.
Yeah, you might go onto the wiki and
Anyway.
look at perimeter. Let me see if I can pick that up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can build fences.
So no houses and no one can deed.
Yeah.
It's something that you can easily look up at a perimeter, like on the wiki. You get a free 5 tiles. So what is the disadvantage of a perimeter? Like, you get no benefit. You don't actually own that land.
Yeah. Well, you get the 5 free tiles if you... I mean, there's no real disadvantage to taking those 5. I think you have to take at least 5. If you increase the perimeter size, you can prevent other people from deeding that area, so that's a good thing. The disadvantage of that is that it costs money per perimeter tile.
So each individual tile.
Each
costs
individual
money.
tile, and this is something we haven't mentioned yet. Each tile that you deed costs money. Each tile that you perimeter costs money. I think they're different prices, but I have the prices here. But yeah, if you increase your perimeter by just a little bit, that's going to add to the cost of your initial plot, I guess. In addition, it will also increase the monthly upkeep.
Okay, so how much would a deed tile cost?
Each tile to plant will cost 20 iron.
Each tile's 20 iron to plant. Are you sure it's 20 iron or 22 copper or something?
Oh wait, I think it's two copper. Sorry, it's 20 iron upkeep. 2 copper, yeah, per
So
tile.
2 copper per tile deed. How about perimeter?
Yeah, perimeter is 50 iron.
So if I were to take a 5x5 area and want to stretch it out to a 6x5 area,
Oh, now you're making me do math.
yeah, that would be like a ton of tiles.
When you say 5x5, you're meaning like the 11x11.
Yeah.
And then you want to extend it one direction, north and south.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have the 11 wide, and you'll add it.
It's like
one strip of
minimum
11 on the
you have
north,
to
one strip
add.
of 11 on the south. Yeah.
Minimum
You're
you have to add like 6 or 12 tiles.
So if you
Extra.
if you start with the minimum size deed and you extend one
Just
of
by
the
one.
directions by one,
How many tiles would that add?
you'll add 22 tiles. So that'll cost you 44 copper to put down.
Just a minimum of one direction.
Just one will cost you another 44 copper.
Wow.
Just to put it down, yeah. And every time that you increase it, so let's say I start increasing it lengthwise. So if I increase it once, I'm adding 22 tiles. If I increase it twice, I'm adding 44 tiles. And then you start increasing widthwise, you're now adding those ones that you just added to the top and the bottom. It quickly adds up.
Yeah,
right?
it sounds like it's like a ton of money. So let's say I plant the smallest deed, just to use an example.
Yeah. Okay, so smallest deed will be 11x11. The area is 121 tiles.
Now, I just spent 10 silver on this settlement form. So
Yeah.
I'm going to plant a deed, and it's going to tell me it's going to be this big, this wide, it's going to cost this much per copper, or per tile. It's going to cost me this much for the deed, this much for the perimeter. Is that extra money that I have to pay?
No, actually, this is one really nice thing about the way the system works, and that's the 10 silver that you initially put into that settlement form. The money will come out of there. I mean, up to a certain point. Of the 10 silver, 7 can be paid for the tiles, the initial payment of the tiles of your deed. And then the remaining 3 silver gets put into your upkeep fund.
Oh.
Now it's up to 7, so you don't have to actually spend the whole 7. If you decide to do the 11x11, so the 121 tiles, let me just do some quick math here. If I times that by 2, I get 242. So you're looking at 2 silver, 42 copper to plant the smallest deed. Well, you'll be left with over 7 silver out of that 10 that you initially put in. So that 7 silver will go into your upkeep fund.
Oh, so it goes into the upkeep fund.
Mm-hmm.
How much would it cost per month? So I have a small deed, the smallest deed. And by the way, these are the perimeter markers, just so that people can see them before they go away. Now, they go away after like a short amount of time. You can already see that the deed markers already went away.
One thing that I've noticed...
They're temporary.
Yeah, I've noticed people complaining that if you quickly lay down another set, like let's say you go, oh, I don't like that size, I want it to be two tiles larger, the original tiles don't disappear yet. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or if they're intending to change that, but it takes a set amount of time before it disappears. I don't know how long.
Who knows?
I mean, I think the deed one's already disappeared, so 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that wasn't even that long. But so how much is upkeep? If I wanted the small amount, 5 by 5 or something.
Yep.
How much would the upkeep be?
Well, general rule of thumb is it's exactly 10% of what you paid to put down the tiles. So if you paid 2 silver, 42 copper, then it will cost 24 copper per month as upkeep. Now, there's an exception to that.
There is a good one?
No, it's actually a pretty bad one. The bad one, the exception is that you have to pay a minimum of 1 silver per month, regardless of the size of your deed.
So you do.
So, yeah.
So what would you recommend then?
Well,
does that mean you would recommend at least making it as large as you can before it goes over 1 silver? Since you have to pay that anyway?
It's like a toss-up. I mean, on the one hand, if you do make it the largest that it can be, just before going above 1 silver upkeep, I think that's like 20 by 21, and you're just below 1 silver. The initial cost of laying down your deed is about 8 silver, or just a bit over 8 silver. Now, the downside to this is that only 7 silver of the original 10 that you invested will go towards that upkeep. So you are going to have in your bank an additional 1 point something silver that will go directly into the purchase of the deed. So if you're not willing to part with that extra 1 silver or 1.5 silver, you might want to go a little bit smaller. In addition, what will be in that upkeep fund will be significantly less. Like if you take the option of the 11 by 11 deed, you're going to have 7 silver, 7.5 silver even, in your upkeep fund, and it'll cost 1 silver per month, so your upkeep will last you about 7 months. I mean, there's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. Some people swear by making it as big as possible without going over that 1 silver mark, but I mean, it's personal preference. You have to evaluate your land, decide what you actually want to deed, what are your plans for your deed, how much space will you need, and yeah,
a couple things that we'd have to bring up. One, once you place your settlement token, can't move it ever again. Make sure it's in the center of your deed. Make sure that when if you're ever going to expand it in the future, that you have that settlement token somewhere in a good spot, because you can only extend it. If you extend it east, you have to extend it west the same length. If you extend it north, you have to extend it south the same length. There's only one field for that, so it goes both ways. You have to pay for both, so make sure that's in the center, 'cause you can't move it, or else you'd have to destroy your whole settlement, disband it, and that costs so much money. Second thing you have to talk about, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of owning land?
Actually, before we get to that, I just want to make one more comment about expanding deed. If you ever feel that or like just before you plant your deed, think whether or not you may want to expand later. Maybe you'll come across some in-game silver and you'll want to expand it. Make sure that settlement token is in a place that benefits an expansion. So what I mean to say is, you may want to consider putting your settlement token or your deed right up against, let's say, a lake, for example. Because if you expand north and south, it will be forced into that lake. Of course, the east and west will be fine, but you can only expand, or if you ever expand, you have to expand in both the north and south direction. You cannot just extend it in one.
Didn't I just say that?
Did you?
Didn't I just say that? I
Maybe
just said
you
that.
did.
Anyway,
But you know, like mountains and water and these sorts of things. Carefully decide where you want to place your settlement token.
all right. Let's talk about why are we doing this? Why do people want to own land? What's the benefit?
Okay, well, this is something that we definitely talked about before. But the main benefit is that no one can take your stuff.
Okay,
At least
no
on
one
a
can take your stuff.
on the freedom servers, on the PvE servers. That's one of the main reasons why you would want.
Mhm.
There's other benefits like no structural rot, so houses and fences and all that stuff like that. No rotting. What else?
I think those are the two big benefits. That if your permissions are set properly, nothing's gonna rot. You know, the fences, nothing's gonna rot. I'm sorry, the fences aren't gonna rot. Your house walls aren't gonna rot,
Okay.
and you have, I guess there's some other stuff, maybe pavement. I don't know.
Yeah, you won't have to worry
Also-
about someone coming by and building a house.
Yeah,
next to
and other people can't touch your stuff,
you. Mhm.
which is great. Now-
Including the trees, including the mines, including
Yeah, talking about all the the permissions. Let's take a look. If I went into manage roles option on my settlement form,
Mhm.
or on my settlement, like what do you get at the end? You get the settlement deed form if you're the mayor. Let's take a look at this. There's all these, all this text is telling you all the different options that you can allow or not allow people to do. So if we could quickly go through it, you can allow or not allow people to build on your property. Forestry, meaning cutting down young trees or picking sprouts and planting new trees. Cutting old trees,
Now, is this
destroying
people
things.
that are
and,
part of your village, or are these people that
both. You can
Like,
set
so-
both.
can you? So you're saying that you're able to let anybody build buildings on your deed? You have the option.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. You can let non-citizens do everything a citizen can do if you set the options.
Okay, so you have quite a bit of versatility there.
Correct. I mean, farming, hiring guards, you can allow other people to make them citizens of your villagers.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of other options. I mean, you just need to look at this. You can allow them to mine. You can allow them to terraform. You can even allow them to expand your deed. Wow. Yeah. You can allow them to pass locked fences.
That would not be good.
Okay, two more things. What does a diplomat mean?
Diplomat means you're allowed
Like a
to invite
democracy.
other. Sorry.
What does being in a democracy mean
Okay,
for a
diplomat
village?
and democracy are two different things. Diplomat means if you assign somebody to be
Well,
a
it
diplomat,
actually
then
says here.
they can allow people to or join your deed. Democracy
And alliances.
if you choose that your settlement is a democracy, this makes it so that people can vote for the mayor, and
Okay.
the person who gets majority of the vote rules. So you can, I mean, the downside is that if you own a settlement and you make it democracy, then anybody who's part of your village can vote you out, and you will lose your deed.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
sure you don't have that checked off.
Now I
Uh.
heard. Now the rule used to be. This is an interesting fact about this. The rule used to be that if you didn't make it a democracy, I think it's what is it called?
A democracy?
If it wasn't a democracy, it would be called a
I don't think.
dictatorship.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
have the word
Okay.
in this game.
Anyway, if it wasn't a democracy, then people could still vote. It just requires 81%, I think it was, in order to vote out the mayor. But this was recently changed to be that you can't actually vote. If it's a dictatorship, you can't vote, period. The mayor will be the mayor forever, no matter what, until the mayor decides.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to go into the reason why, but
No.
yeah, you can go research that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much it. You want to own land mainly because of all the benefits that we've said, but also because there's the one rule that people always say in this game, like the unwritten rule: deed it or lose it. And that's because if you don't deed your stuff, anyone can come and deed over your place. Not mentioning an enclosure, but they can still like deed right next to you. You want to safeguard your area, you have to deed it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own your land. It's the only safe way of owning land, I should say.
That's right.
And I mean, the only thing we haven't really talked about is having a guard. You can hire guards. It costs extra money. Those are those spirit guard things that you see wandering around a deed.
Yeah.
They
Those
cost money. They
2 silver per guard, so you have to pay 2 silver, and then
Upfront.
they add an extra silver to your upkeep. So they're pretty steep. They're very useful when you're starting out, especially. But you could always build a tower guard or guard tower.
I'd recommend building that tower guard because it's
Guard
you're
tower, yeah.
building these guards with your own 2 hands.
It is quite a pain, but
You
doable.
earn the right to do that. But
That's right.
there's no shame in having a spirit guard.
No
So with that, I mean, that's the basics of having a settlement token. As you can see, we're getting more into like this whole kind of intermediate stage of Wurm, where it's not just the basics. A lot of our previous videos was more like the basics, like digging and all this stuff. Now, let's get into the meat of the game. We've got our settlement here. We're ready to go. I mean, it looks like junk. Looks like
Actually,
junk right now.
This settlement probably looks better than a raw piece of land.
Yeah. we did a bunch of like pounding down grass and like packing grass and doing some stuff, but it's nothing right now. We are hoping, I mean, take a look at it, because hopefully soon we'll be able to actually go around and fill it in and make it look like an actual village that we could live in.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, this is what it looks like, and let's dig right in. What are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about all sorts of, I think from here on in, intermediate things. Lots of stuff that Adam likes, is it's more like math formulas and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to watch more of our videos, please go to serversaredown.com. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at Factional Fight. On Facebook, it's serversaredown.com. And we will have really soon a video that will talk about how you can join this lovely village. We're only taking a small amount of people. We'll have all the details in the video, so look out for the video sometime in the next few weeks. And until then, go buy your settlement forms now that you know how. Start your little village, and we'll see you on Deliverance. Take care, guys.